It's a very nice Saturday, and I mean, the weather is good, but I am having an opportunity to be inside a place. This friend of mine have night shelter, day's shelter, not day's shift, and he allowed me to stay. He doesn't speak Arabic. Some words I'm trying to teach him. Thank God he don't know nothing about me. Oh, if you know what I'm boarding here, I won't be staying here right now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I'm just taking advantage and being inside. It's good to be indoors in your own place. I mean, not in your place, in a place. It's good, yeah. To feel that you have a place, a room. This video is not the first on this topic. There is before him too. Especially the last one is 52 minute. No, there is 152. 35 minute. And it was good. A powerful one. Why I delete it? Because I respect the community guideline, and I'm gonna say it again. Okay, easy and simple. If you're interested, you're interested on the truth. This video is about Gog and Magog and those who call themselves Shia. And the contradiction among those who call themselves Shiite. Please don't delete the video. Okay, I'm not saying all. Okay, 1 second. The point that I'm trying to say here right now to you. Of course, in the Gulf states, and in the country called Saudi Arabia, even then the Ismailian land, Ismailian maybe themselves, they look at me and they say, really, put this in your mind, just this is for your information. They look at me as a betrayer. Not because I am against the Saudi House or government. It's just why I'm a betrayer, because they say you went there to, please Daniel, a Kafir nation. Oh, the West is one of them. It's not a Muslim nation. Some of them would say this. And you go and you tell them some secrets about the society. Wallahi, a lot might say this. You some ignorant. You tell them some secret about our society, our culture, about even the race of some people, and because so many wouldn't like it. Okay, some without any relation to religion, they look to me and say, how dare you do this to your own people? I mean, when we go to a kafir, man, they are less kafir than the people there in the Middle East. The West. Yani, some aspects, look at me right now. I'm not persecuted until now, of course. I'm not. If I'm there, imagine if I start uploading all of this explanation. Where would I be since the end of 2015? Where would I be? Rah, rah, rah. And the other point, when you talk about your own people, fucking hell, it's an occupation. Who's my people? I'm fucked. My people, in a way or another, fucked as well. Otherwise, I would be here. Let me continue. Please don't delete the video. Do you remember the video which I have added to for your information list in my YouTube channel? The main one? The main one, which is Ismailian Islamic State. The Islamic Ismailian State. Give me back my whole land. Do I need to be more serious? Everyone is... 1 second. 1 second. The king of Bahrain went in like a place, and he talked to a Bahraini Jews after normalizing the relationship between Bahrain and the occupation, the so-called Israeli occupation. He went and met them, the king of Bahrain, and just to identify who are those people. Those people got nothing to do with the Jewish faith. They relate themselves to Judea, all of them. Definitely they are not Israelite. They have nothing to do with the Israeliness. Easy and simple. And they are not Bahrainis. As a matter of fact, they are originally from Iran. Gohem, like the Asfanis, who went and settled either in Iraq, within the Uthmanic Khilafah, especially regardless, and settled in Iraq, settled in Kuwait, or stayed in Kuwait settled in Iraq definitely, stayed in Kuwait or stayed in Bahrain for a while. Then, after 1945, things happened within the decade. They moved to help the occupation in our Holy Land. Okay, so they are not from the Ismailian territory. Okay, they are not from the Ismailian territory. One second. In this place where he was meeting those so-called Israelite, so-called Bahrainis, who relate themselves to Judea. Nothing to do with Judea. This is another topic. An African black American journalist. Easy and simple. An African black American journalist, because there is African or not black. An African black journalist, because there is African or not black, told one. He came to him and he said, "Your Majesty, what about the Shiite, the so-called Shiite rights in Bahrain?" Now, this guy, or this, how can I say it without deleting the video? If we talk to him about George Floyd, Black Lives Matters, what would you say? Of course, there is racism against the black in America. I can see it. I admit that there is. I totally. There is racism. No, there is. I'm not talking some department in the government, some institute, some. This is another topic. Some societies, but in certain places, there is a clear racial discrimination against the black. You cannot hide it, and also some black are racist as well. But there is racism against the black, definitely in America. It's obvious. Even regardless of the history, the dark history. But he's coming and he's talking about the Shiite. He's talking about those who are persecuting our rights. Okay? They chosen a black. I cannot say that they chosen a black because he's considered from the minorities. They are facing racial discrimination, and the so-called Shiite always coming. There is racism against us. No, there is against our faith. No. It's you who are creating the racism. Okay. So-called Shiite from Sri Lanka, India, Sindh, Punjab, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, Africa, Bangladesh. They came and settled in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatif, places, Ahsa, Emirate and Oman. No, this is not the point. The point is, this gentleman is asking the king about the Shiite. It's a Western American media. And the king is saying, no, we do not persecute the Shia. There is no persecution to Shia. And there is no one in jail except those who killed. Of course, he's told, the journalist. Little bit short, the king. Except those who killed police officers, Bahraini police officer, who burned cars and burned shops and cut the roads, put some burn, and causing trouble. Troublemaker, they are in jail. Okay? Now, the so-called, just to explain to you. I honestly, it was deleted. I don't want this video to be deleted. Because I was a little bit crossing the line of 1 second. This is not the topic. The topic is something else. The senators, the Congress, and so many in the media in the West, and people with authority, they say, if it's not us, Saudis or Gulf state, you would speak Persian right now. We're protecting you. See? Blackmail. We protect you. Do what we want. Normalize right now. You see? Now the Bahraini king is asked about the Shia in what? In this dialogue or in this meeting with those who relate themselves to Judea, the so-called Israelis, so-called Bahrainis. And just to say to him, even while you are in this meeting doing what we want as normalizing, the devil at the end, normalizing the relationship with this so-called Israeli occupation, we remind you about the threat. And by this, blackmail. We blackmail you. So that's why you see that the Bahraini king, even before 2010, he ran to the so-called Israelis. He said, welcome. Now they opened embassies just to push away the threat by the so-called Shiite. And definitely the loyalty is for Tehran, Iran. Persia, who occupy Baluchistan, Khuzestan, Kurdistan. And I wonder why you call it the Persian Gulf. You can call it the Ismailian Gulf. You can call it the Ahwazian, Baluchi, Ismailian Gulf. You can call it, for example, why Persian, Mani or whatever. Why Persian? Or Yemen. Why Persian? Arabic. But I have explained why it's called the Persian. Unlegally, the Persian. Like Israel, the so-called Israel. Look at Google. Do you see the powers of media, the power of internet, the power of medicine, the power, all type of power is working for the interest of the devil on humanity. You go to Google Map, Israel. See West Bank, Gaza Strip, Israel. You go to the Persia, the Persian Gulf. The Gulf? No, this is big deal. This is unlegal lies. Anyway. Do you see it's blackmail? Then, so do anyone came to the Congress, this big power, and remind them what the West did since Sheikh Ghazal, who was executed by the Persian, by the support of British, invading the illegal invasion to Iraq and killing Saddam Hussein? Huh? If he's bastard, you are listening. In comparison to a bastard, you are listening to dog shit. In Iraq, you invaded Iraq and you caused trouble. It's not enough the decades and the years that you have made the people of Iraq in poverty. Since Sykes-Picot dividing, not everything will end. Definitely I will die someday, but everything will end. Even this corruption you are creating as Gog and Magog. Now, or so-called Christian crusaders who have nothing to do with the Messiah, or Gohem, who call themselves Jews, bringing the wrath of God, or a so-called Shiite. Now, Gog and Magog. The so-called Shiite, if you go and look at Bahrain, first I need to say this. What happened in Gulf State? What happened in Gulf States, in a very short explanation, is exactly like the following example. Imagine any city on this planet. Let's say Tokyo, Japan. Imagine there is an external force come to Tokyo and divide it to 6 pieces. I'm not going to talk about parts of Iraq, South Iraq. I'm not going to talk about South Jordan Sea, I think. And divide this is the Ismailian territory. It was divided to 6 pieces. Let's talk about Gulf States now. It should give you Tokyo. Imagine someone went to Tokyo and separated to 6 pieces. Imagine as well that Tokyo have 1,000 house. Okay, let's say Tokyo have 1,000 house, and this external power in some waves occurred within the last century. Royal maniacs and royal monarch agents, whatever. Regardless, Tokyo was cut, which had 1,000 house to 6 pieces. Imagine that they called the 6 pieces Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Emirate. Okay, Bahrain is one of these 6 pieces in Tokyo. Only 50 house. Now this is Japanese land. The Japanese, the native Arab, are the majority there. Exactly like the Ismailian territory, land. Now, when you look into this 50 house Bahrain. Either it's an island or not. Imagine that the majority within this 50 house in Bahrain, in the so-called Bahrain, in the small cutted pieces in Tokyo, the 50 inhabitant, 30 house among them are non-Japanese. In that certain area, 30 not Japanese, 20 are Japanese. So we're talking about a minority that now, if they have no conscience, they will take advantage and start saying and proclaiming that the land is theirs. Well, it's not. That's what I'm trying to say. There is no such thing called Bahrain. There is no such thing called Kuwait. This is the Ismailian land. It should be one government. Understand me? From the sea to the sea. Now they want to cut Saudi Arabia to pieces. Imagine this. The non-human. Okay? With, of course, the support of Gogma or the West. Now, Tokyo. If these people have no conscience, will start proclaiming that the land is theirs. Exactly like happened in Bahrain. In the Gulf states. In Middle East. The Bahraini among them, with, of course, a lot of message from Tehran, from after what happened in Iraq, the so-called Shiite, and some maybe from Kashmir, that this Bahrain is for the Shiite. The Shiite right now is almost 60%, more than 60%. Why? Al-Khalifa is ruling us while he's a Sunni. Okay, Al-Khalifa and the 20% are natives. No. There is, of course, some Sunnis, 5% who are not. But you will find a lot of Tamimis, Bani Hanifa and others. No. This is ours. Man, there shouldn't be a country called Bahrain. Like Al-Qatif, for example. In Al-Qatif, there is people after 11 September, the inside job, and after the illegal invading to Iraq, they start doing what? And the support by Iran. Of course, Iran and Syria and Yemen, Russia. Russia right now is interfering in Middle East and bringing a lot of corruption and supporting Iran. I mean, look at Iran with relationship. Iran supported Armenia against Azerbaijan. Though Azerbaijan, the majority there are Shiite. Turkey, the Sunnis, supported the Azerbaijanis. Iran was against Azerbaijan. Why? For Russia, because Russia is giving them an absolute support. Eastern Turkmenistan are considered Sunni. China and Iran have a good relationship on the account of Sunnis. Eastern Turkmenistanis are Sunnis. It's a complicated topic. I don't want this video to be deleted. 1 second. After the 11th September, the inside job in invading Iraq, these people in Qatif as well, it is a city in the Ismailian territory in the so-called Saudi Arabia. Qatifis are not Ismailian. They start calling for their independence. And they start criticizing the native Arab and calling them Najdis. Even some media among the West and YouTube channel they said that Bahrain, Emirate, and Qatar and Bahrain used to be Wahhabist. Bedouin Wahhabis or something like this. But now no, you can find alcohol, you can find prostitution, because it's not Wahhabist. Which give more support to the minority, especially the so-called Shiite, saying, look at Bahrain, it's very open because we are a majority here. If we are not a majority, it would be Wahhabist, like Saudi Arabia. This put up Russia and the Saudi monarch, for example, from Bahrain and other loyal, and even those in opposition, who are against the natives, which create the change that is happening right now in Saudi Arabia within the last 6 years, for example. It's obvious. This is the satanic sanctuary, based on the final messenger end time prophecies, that there will be a sanctuary for the devil. And he talked about places. I mean, look what's happening in the big Cantonian state. No, this is not the point. The point is, my point is, why the so-called Shiite are in contradiction. What do you mean, Tari? Those who call themselves Shiite. No, this is the point. This is the point. The video is all about this point. I saw a lot of aggressive attacks against the king of Bahrain and Al-Khalifa. Unbelievable. Assault, humiliation, criticism by the so-called Shiite. Unacceptable. Someone might say, wow, what about you, Tariq? You forget. No, I criticize them by saying the truth about them. I say the truth about them. Okay? I say the truth. I don't lie. I say the truth about this Gulf state. I say the truth about the Gulf states. I say the truth. I criticize them for the accurate reason, not for the wrong reason. I say the truth about them. I say the truth. And when I criticize the Saud House, I criticize them for the right reason. The Al Khalifa for the right reason, not the wrong. The so-called Shiite criticize by providing lies for the wrong reasons. That's what they do. People who are from the Torsh, I'm sorry, Torsh means came by Torsh. I will send you a message. The highest level of meaning, the highest good meaning. These people who came from outside, immigrant. You stayed here. There was a rules like here in the West. Look what the French people do and others do and others. Even in Moscow, they stopped in Moscow a masjid for prayer. Yeah, and people was hostage for hours inside. They say it's identities, our country. Though they are bombing the Syrian, killing the Syrian, doing unbelievable, helping the Iranian against the Baluchis, the Ahwazi, understand me, doing all sorts of crimes against the natives in Middle East. China say we never occupy any country. You occupied Eastern Turkmenistan. It's not yours. Eastern Turkmenistan is not yours. As a matter of fact, I mean, they always complain about Japan. Japan didn't do nothing in comparison to what you're doing in the 21st century. This is an occupation in the Eastern Turkmenistan. It's not yours. You shouldn't do. Someone might say they are exaggerating the point of camp. It's not yours to put any camps. It's not yours. You are occupying other people's country. They say Chinese, no, never. China never occupy other country. No, this is occupation. You're colonizing the Eastern Turkmenistan country. You're stealing from them. The Japanese, last century, it was last century, and why you're complaining from what the Japanese did to you last century? Well, you're doing worse right now in the 21st century. Shame on you. Of course, taking advantage as accomplice, even against us, and I've explained about this after 11 September, the inside job, war and terror, crap like that, and war and terror, and terror, the reactions, 11 September, the inside. Anyway, my point is, the so-called Shiite, they always criticize him, the king. And they made demonstration by even request from Iran. And in Iraq, they are more capable to have relationship with the so-called, but Iran, because they don't want they don't want to their legitimacy, شرعيتهم, their reputation. So, in Bahrain, there is a lot of accusation to Al Khalifa, to the king of Bahrain, saying, "How dare you? Shame on you! You betrayed the Islamic nation. You're not a king. You're a pimp of Bahrain. Now you have a relation with man. You helped those who blackmailed him from the first place to open a relationship. You don't want to see this? I'm gonna give you an additional example. How could you criticize what he's doing, the normalization between him, Bahraini king, and the occupation of the Holy Land, by saying, look at the unjust against the Palestinian. It's a humanitarian case. Look what those Gohem so-called Israelis who led themselves to Judea doing, this Western occupation, the Gog Magogic. Look what I need to close. Some people think when I do like this, I smell something bad. No, the smell is very wonderful. I have issues, psychological issues, not a real issue. That's why I do like this. And I don't use any drugs or something like this. I'll never commit suicide or something like this. Don't worry. Fuckers. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if you're in my side, thank you very much. Thank you. My history, my experience in life, always rejection. Can I have sex with you, honey? No, I'm joking. have nothing to do with women. Really. Only females. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Really, really. Just rejection, no resistance to the truth that I'm explaining about. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel that everyone is my enemy sometimes. I'm sure that the people of righteousness, and the people who love the truth, and the people who want the glory of God Almighty, and the people who want peace, the people who are good, the people who are against the darkness and unjust, the people who are calling for justice. I'm sure that they all gonna be in my side. That's for sure. Are you one of them? Huh? 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 What? Huh? Okay, yes, you are. If you aren't, then go and eat some dog shit. You don't want to eat it? Put it in your face. That's what you deserve. You should be honored because the dog shit is more I mean of respect. If you're a respected creature, dog shit is more respectable than you. Let's continue. Anyway, it's maybe the smell of darkness. This is a terrible occupation you're saying in the Holy Land. You did some. I'm not saying all. Some of the so-called Shia. Look at them. It's a terrible occupation. That's why you are making demonstration in cases in Manama and Bahrain and criticism from all the so-called Shiite world against this king. Okay, I'm not defending him. But on the other hand, you want to create something worse, similar or worse than the occupation in the Holy Land. You want to take the land of Ishmaelians, and start calling them Bedouin, Najdis, Arabi, Nasibi, Bedouin. You are behind assaulting the Arab figures. No, it is the Arab figure. No, it has nothing to do. I mean, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Aisha, the mother of believers. No, no, no. We are doing because it's a related to faith. No, it has nothing to do with faith. The resource, basically, is something to do with the race. You just want to humiliate the Arab figures. End of the story. This is a long discussion. That's what you want. Let's go to the other point. You want to make an occupation. I'm not going to talk about Syria with the cover up, with the cover of Russia, beheading children, killing people, raping. You know what you're doing even in Iran. And after the invasion of America, I mean, Gog and Magog. So you are criticizing the poor king Hamad al Khalifa for the normalization with the so-called Israeli occupation, and at the same time you are persecuting the natives, lying about the natives, saying no truth information. You provide lies outside when you go outside to the west, and I even inside the country or outside as opposition. Lies after lies after lies after lies. This is unacceptable. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. You shouldn't do this. You should not do this to us. I understand. Uh, the monarch, our agents, are not worth respect. The last century, the color of darkness, the dark imposement by this big filthy nation, but this big nations like the West and Satan, they work for the devil. They do everything for the devil. They have nothing to do with the creator of existence. They have nothing. Those in the dark house, the White House, also in England, they have got nothing. Criminal, Gog and Magog. When we go to Russia and Europe, they got nothing. What's France? They have, so many among them are atheists. But be an atheist with conscience. These people are hellfire path, empowering the hellfire path, creating power to impose all darkness on planet Earth. Uh, so the same story. You go to the so-called Israeli state, you will find people who relate themselves to Judea. They don't know nothing about Yehudian faith. They are a group of people. Their leaders are part of a satanic cult that they refer to it as Judea. I don't care. Before I end, I'll mention something about the beautiful group that call itself anti-Zionist Jews. just say, I don't mean you. You are a wonderful people, and you have a. If it's a cult, it's a wonderful cult. Your cult, and I respect you, and I respect your families, and I respect your position and existence. And best, definitely, Islam is absolutely tolerance with everything, especially people who relate themselves to the book, though there is manipulation and things like that, and understanding to the accurate understanding to the divine plan. Now, to the so-called Israelis in the occupying Holy Land, have the same story with you. They have nothing to do, as I said, with the Jewish faith. They say it's a Jewish state. Okay? They are living in a Disneyland. They have no understanding to the divine plan. Anyway, and they are absolutely not Israelite. I am Iraqi. You are from Iran, settled in Iraq. I am Bahraini Jew. No, you are originally from, you know it, from Iran or Kuwait. From Iran, they say we're Kuwaiti Jew. No, no, no. You were from Iran and you came for a while in Kuwait or in Bahrain, then you moved to the Holy Land to help in the occupation. I'm a Jew from Najran. You are not from Najran, which is in South Saudi Arabia. No, you are an Ethiopian Jew who came and settled for a while in Najran. Then they moved you. You have no roots to the Israeli race and no roots based on the race to the Arabian lies. Maybe some of those who are in Yemen, some few group among, but still the Gohamic Kahtanis used, a lot of them used to accept the Judean faith. They have nothing to do. The Israelite is in Saudi Arabia. Some of them with Pashtun. I'm sorry, this is the fact. And in Gulf State, you will see amongst branch in the tribes. Now, this is another. Now, I'm talking about you. You are not Israelis. You were gone. You're not from Morocco. There was no Jews in Morocco. They all came from Europe and France and settled in Andalusia, and then they ran away from the invasion of European. There was some Egyptian and some places of Chad. These people are Goyim Jews, and so many among them accepted Islam. The real Israelis accepted Islam. The real Israelis cannot live the way you're living right now. No, you're a different ethnic group. So the so-called Israeli state have people who relate themselves to Judea. One, they are not Israelis whatsoever. And the majority of them, again, the majority of them are not even from Middle East. I mean, there is Ashkenazis, Flasher, people from Russia, Pakistanis, Sudanim, from Turkey, Asfani. Okay, they are, but there is, like those who are from Turk, those from Iran, you can say that they are Middle Eastern. Okay, some Egyptian, you can say that they are Middle Eastern. Okay. Do you understand my point? But when it's come to the majority of them in the Holy Land, I mean 1 million from Russia, wow, great in bringing the curse from God. Goyim Jews coming then and doing some of them do some acts like turban and things like that, like an aqal and things, like if it's not yours, you're Goyim, you're occupier. Okay? So the same. Do you see the Holy Land? So-called Israeli, they are not Israelis, and relating themselves to the Judea. And the majority of them, the big majority, 95 and more, are not even from Middle East, Goyim Jews. Let's go to the so-called Shiite. First of all, they got nothing to do with the native Arabian Peninsula people. No, they do not. Literally, 100%, definitely, they got nothing to do with the Ishmael. No. Someone would say, why it's all about race? Because you want to delete me. Because you want to delete us. Because you are a good worker and soldier for the devil. This is the century of Satan. Satan is always working, even before this century. But look right now, what they are doing. It's unbelievable. It was never like this. The weakness, even at the time of the Mughal, there was a way to resist, and it took some years. Look at us right now, and the collapse is in. But anyway, there will be always solution. Yeah, will be always. It's part of the divine plan. We understand. You are the one who's creating crime. You are the one who's doing darkness. You are the one who's coming and creating problems. It's you. You go to the so-called Shiite in Bahrain. They are not Ismailian, not Kahtanis, not from the Arabian Peninsula. They cannot prove it. Their accent, their culture, everything expose them. Okay, what else? They are not from this country. The race is different. Kashmir, Azerbaijan, Sindh, Sri Lanka, Kurds, some of them, Africa, Central Africa, whatever. They came from a Turk. There is people, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan. You came from, no problem, well, we are human. Why you are causing trouble right now? There is a lot of names among you. Bangladesh, okay, the race is the same story with the occupation of the Holy Land. Secondly, you call yourself the Shiite of the family of Muhammad. You are an absolute enemy to Islam, to Muhammad, peace be upon him, based on the evidence. You have nothing to do with the family of Muhammad. What you do, your practices have nothing to do with the family of Muhammad. Everything is something taken from other dark groups, the so-called Hindus, the so-called Buddhists, slapping yourself, putting some fire, walking on it, having sex in with a condition of adultery, other things, and you the same. And you want Bahrain, greater Bahrain, bigger Bahrain, and kick the native Arab from their own places. You're not normal. You are not normal. You are a tool for Gog and Magog. You are a tool for the Western Russia. Look at the West and Russia. Look right now. Look. Leave Egypt. Look at the threat against Islam. Look at what before and after the killing. I'm saying 100%. Look at it. If there was no people who call themselves Shia, either they are heavenly people, godly people, hellfire people, good, bad people, this is different. If there was the invasion and the invading of Iraq wouldn't happen. It wouldn't. It wouldn't. Russia wouldn't have their army in Syria right now, bombing us and killing the people. Bombing who? Bombing the Muslim. Bombing the natives in Syria. The natives are Assyrian there, the majority. It's all because of those who call themselves Shiite. Okay? Now Gog and Magog are taking advantage. Gog and Magog as well. You wouldn't mess around with us. You wouldn't do anything. Sheikh Khazal of Ahwaz wouldn't be delivered to you in Persia. If there was an invasion by both, Russia even came that last century, but the British. You wouldn't do anything if there was no invasion of Iraq. You wouldn't even delete Iraq, the legitimate leadership in Iraq, which was a good result of, in the good sequences of what happened last century. Not like it was Syria. It's a bad, dark result. A minority intruders who rule the majority in Syria. Look the crime. Don't be angry with me. Don't say this is against the community. Look at the crime of the Syrian regime. Please, please. Iraq are different ethnic group. And so many of this ethnic group are not from originally Iraq. No, they are Eastern. They came from outside. Saddam Hussein is native from there. And he's an Israelite. Like Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi. Now, regardless, there will be a debate, especially when it comes to Saddam Hussein. I don't want to. I will face a problem with my own tribe. I mean, why you mention these things? Because we're living in a very not a matter of fear, matter of tribal. Dark groups help each other. They came and they made it. You start proclaiming that Qatif is yours, Bahrain is yours, Kuwait is yours. You start assaulting our figure, saying dirty bad things about the nation of Ismailian. You relate yourself to whom you want to relate. I'm observing you since Jubail Industry College, and even before when I was in Tabuk, there was a colonel. Do you know Muammar al-Gaddafi? He have a rank, something like this, in the Air Force in Tabuk. And they used to give them some position before Ali Khomeini revolution. They used to make them lieutenant and things like that, but then they were afraid, especially after the bomb in Eastern Province and trying to assassinate the Prince of Kuwait and the war between Iraq and Iran. Then they stopped, though they are not Ismailian, to prove that these people They have nothing to do with our country, and they bring this way of looking to them. And Tabuk, my father used to visit him, and he used to visit my father. But he know it. He's not an Ishmaeli. His wife, I think, his brother wife is from Lebanon. They know that they are not native Arab. Their culture is absolutely different from our culture, either the Kahtanis or the Ishmaelians. Uh, I'm not lying here. I'm not lying. He have even a farm in Tabuk, the road of farms, طريق المزارع. He's fine. At the time, Abdul Malik was disabled. At the time, I remember the days. My third brother, and so he was in a good rank because they used to give them anyway. I don't want to talk about how the Saudi regime changed a little bit after what happened between Iraq and Iran. But after 11 September, the inside job and the invading Iraq, Bill Clinton herself interfered in the White Dark House, interfered to fuck our life more and more. They enjoyed it. They enjoy it. Go pigs. And everyone is interfering to create this problem. Now, finally, don't criticize this poor blackmailed king for normalizing the relationship with the so-called Israeli occupation, while you stand for your agenda is to create a similar or worse occupation. Okay? مذهب العدل. What عدل? I observed you in the Japan Industry College even before invading Iraq. So a lot of things in SABIC and other companies, a lot of my friends, relatives in all Gulf states, this is terrible what you do. Even in Oman they say good things about Mohammed bin Salman and what happened recently, the last 6 years or 5 years. Why? Look at Dr. Saad al-Faqih. Why he call him? He said Saudi Arabia is changing to better right now. Really? Yeah, for him. They see bother as long it's making our anything work for making our nation weak, they support it. This is the germ agenda. This is the people who are calling for unjust. Please don't read the video. Calling for unjust. I'm not saying all. Some. Calling for unjust. You cannot steal from people. If you're a bad person without conscience, you cannot steal from people, for example, living in a mansion, except if they are weak. If they are weak, of course, with your loyalty to external power, if they are weak with someone pushing you against the native Ishmaeli, if the native Ishmaeli who are living in, for example, a mansion or a farm, if they are weak, then you enter and you steal and you do all sorts of destruction. And who's best than such monarch agents? Look what they are saying. Mohammed bin Salman is changing it because he's a so-called Shiite or other sector who call themselves Muslim against the native Arab Ishmaeli. If you want change, go back to your country. You shouldn't stay in Oman. No, you're not from Arabia, Venezuela. إذا كنت عربي فهذه أشد وأنكى. هذه خيانة. They call for secularism and liberalism. People are saying a group because a lot of those scholars are in jail. A lot died like Duish and others. A lot of thinkers are in jails. People like me running away. The Ishmaelian are struggling, facing problems, then Mohammed bin Salman is good. By this, we can do whatever we want. By this, making in Gulf states is doing some far worse role in it. This crown prince is a puppet boy. Nothing. He's nothing. Do you understand me? It's not. And if someone like me and you are Anizi, and they bring maps and they explain, even if they come to the home office or the department or whatever or media, and they say in Canada, this is the Arabian Peninsula. Imagine, Anizi tribe, which is me. They are from this north. They have nothing to do with Hijaz. They have nothing to do with Najd. They have nothing to do with the eastern province. Really? They say yes, really. Who's for Hijaz? Tursh in Hijaz, Tursh in the eastern province, and Tursh in Najd. What about Al Khalifa? Al Khalifa is originally from Najd. Okay, what about Khalid ibn al-Walid, Banu Khalid, who are from Quraysh, the same tribe of Muhammad, the same tribe of the family of Muhammad. Where are they from? They are from South Jordan. How come South Jordan while Muhammad's family is? Because you are Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, you are normal Muslim, native. We need to fuck by lies your. What about any other tribe? They are from the desert. They have nothing to do with Eastern Province. And others work with them. Liars. Unazah are in Qasim. You will find them even before Abdul Aziz in centuries, thousands. They are in Najd. They are in Hijaz and around Medina. They are. You can see their places مضاربهم below Kuwait to the all Eastern Province, to Najd, to the empty quarter. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? Families and tribes. Why are you lying? The Ishmaelian territory. Why you want to delete their existence? Why you're bad? I'm not saying all, some, and others as well, all over the world. Any group that wanted to persecute our rights because it's the center of Islam, we need to change the center of Islam. Emirate is good. 80% are foreigners, 90%, 19 more percent are foreign, and 10% persecuted natives among them, maybe 7%, and the other 3% are people granted passport and nationality by the Gulf states agents. Al Said as well, the same. What about our identity, culture, proud? No answer. No answer. History, no answer. The world order and the century and the decades occurred before, created what occurred before, created an atmosphere that is persecuting us. This is serious thing. This is serious thing. This is not a joke. This is a serious thing. People are persecuted there. Either they are ignorant about their right, and once they know, they are persecuted. Or they know, but they cannot do nothing because of the change in the Middle East by Satan's slaves. This is terrible. The destruction to our family. I saw a lot of disturbing and destruction to the Ishmaelian family. And all good people, don't take me wrong. There is a lot of non-Ishmaelian who are just wonderful, beautiful, peaceful, and lovely, and humble, and good worker. And they are courage when it comes, and they are a good protector to the nation. They are Muslims who deserve to be there. Absolutely, wonderful people. There is a privacy to that area, of course, to the Holy Land in a secondary degree. But now let's talk about the Ishmaelian territory. But also there is people who are not Ishmaelian who are creating trouble. And among the Ishmaelian, stupid, weak, this is not the weakness of the body, and their minds, who are helping in this to be created. So finally, this video is explaining you are criticizing King Hamad al-Khalifa for normalizing the relationship with this filthy, with this so-called Israeli, dirty, so-called Israeli, so-called Jewish state, Gohemic, they can call themselves. You want to call yourself Jewish state, occupation, got nothing to do with righteousness, dark, causing a big factor of creating tribulation on planet Earth. You're criticizing him after all what you created. You created an environment where the West and Google West can come and blackmail him, while you want to do something the same or worse than this occupation in the Holy Land. Don't blame him. Blame yourself. They shouldn't. No one should go and make a demonstration in Bahrain, saying, especially those who call themselves Shia, because they are behind all demonstration. You precisely. You don't do nothing. You don't complain. You don't criticize the king of Bahrain. I'm not defending him. You don't do this. Stop it. Bad people. Not good. No, not good. I'm not saying all. I'm saying some. I'm saying some. No, I'm not saying all. But this is a point. This is unbelievable and unacceptable thing happening. Okay.